Have you ever wondered if this life is really your first? What if you've actually lived before and will live again? Imagine, before you were even born, your soul made a conscious choice. It chose this exact life, this body, this moment in history. It picked out all the joys, the struggles, and yes, even the pain you'd experience. But the moment you took your first breath, all of that knowledge faded away. You forgot everything. And that wasn't by accident. Society is set up to make you forget. From the start, you're taught that life begins at birth and ends at death, that everything is random, and that you're just a collection of flesh and bone here by pure chance. But deep down, you've always sensed there's more to it than that. Think about those moments when you meet someone new but feel like you've known them forever. That's not just coincidence. Or the dreams that feel so real, you wake up convinced they meant something. Even those flashes of déjà vu, or the strange fears and gut feelings about places you've never been. These are echoes of something bigger. Your soul has walked this path before, and in this video we're going to dig into why you're here and what you're meant to remember. From the very beginning, you were placed in a world designed to make you forget your true nature. The walls of your nursery became your first boundaries. Language wasn't just a tool to help you communicate, it was a way to limit your thinking. You were handed a name, a nationality, a set of beliefs, labels that anchored you to an identity that was never really yours. You were told what's real and what's not, what's possible and what's foolish to even question. But here's the truth that rarely gets spoken. Everything around you is an illusion. The material world, the one you wake up in every day, is just a temporary stage, a fleeting projection of energy shaped into form. Most people mistake it for the ultimate reality. They get attached to it, chasing after wealth, status, and recognition, believing those things define who they are. They measure their happiness by achievements, by how much they own, by how well they fit into a system that only values you when you produce, consume, and obey. The script is always the same. Go to school, get a job, buy a house, start a family, retire, and then fade away. Generation after generation, nobody questions it. But that's the biggest lie of all. What if I told you that before you were even born, you already knew all of this? That your soul, free from any name, gender, or body, willingly stepped into this world, knowing it would be caught in this illusion. It wasn't forced. It agreed. But why would a soul make that choice to forget itself and live a life full of struggle and uncertainty? Because Earth is a school. You came here to learn. Life in the physical realm is a test, an experience designed to shape your soul through hardship, love loss, and growth. Every challenge, every moment of suffering, every lesson you repeat is part of something much bigger than you can imagine. But none of it is meant to be permanent. This world is just a passing phase, a training ground before you move on. Yet most people never wake up to this truth. They stay trapped, tangled in desires that keep them reincarnating over and over. The more attached you are to relationships, possessions, status, the harder it is to break free. The system feeds off this attachment constantly, reinforcing the idea that you are just your body, that life is a one-time event, that nothing exists beyond what you can see and touch. But those who remember, those who know the truth, understand that this is only the beginning. Some truths are too deep for YouTube, and that's why we created Insights Academy, a free newsletter where we share the most hidden, esoteric knowledge. For a limited time, you'll also get a free copy of the Kabbalah, a powerful book on Hermetic wisdom. You can find the link in the description. You've probably felt it before, a quiet whisper in the back of your mind telling you that something about this world just doesn't feel right. Maybe you've sensed that time isn't as straightforward as it seems. Maybe you've had dreams so vivid they felt more real than waking life. Or maybe, just maybe, you've started to remember glimpses of something you were never supposed to recall. That's not your imagination. It's your soul trying to wake you up. Death is not the end. It never was. You have died before. You've left this world, shed your body like an old piece of clothing, and stepped into the unknown. But the moment you crossed over, everything made sense again. The illusions of time, identity, and separation faded away, and you remembered what you had forgotten. You were never just this single life, never just this name, this story, this fleeting experience. You were always something far greater. The moment of death isn't darkness, it's clarity. Your entire life flashes before you not as a bunch of disconnected memories, but as a single tapestry woven together with meaning. But here's what nobody tells you. You don't just see your past, you feel it. Every action, every thought, every word you ever spoke ripples back at you. If you caused pain, you feel that pain as if it were your own. If you spread love, you become that love. This is the life review, the first step in the transition from this world to the next. For some, this moment is liberating. They see their life with new eyes, understand the lessons they came here to learn, and are ready to move forward. For others, it's terrifying. The weight of regret, the things left unsaid, the attachment still gripping their soul, it all becomes overwhelming. And when a soul isn't ready to let go, it lingers clinging to the familiar, afraid to move on, stuck between two worlds. This is why some spirits remain bound to the physical plane, unable to release themselves from the very illusion they once lived in. But those who do move forward are guided into the next phase of existence. They enter a space beyond time where the soul is free from the limitations of the body. Some experience this as a tunnel of light, others as a vast, endless horizon. The form it takes doesn't matter. What matters is that this is where the real journey begins. Once the transition is complete, the soul is pulled into a higher state of consciousness. Here there's no suffering, no fear, no limitation, only understanding. Some souls immediately feel a sense of homecoming, as if they're returning to a place more familiar than Earth ever was. Others take time to adjust, still carrying echoes of their past life with them. But no soul is lost. Every soul is guided, watched over, and led to exactly where it needs to be. And then the great question is asked, what's next? For many, the answer is clear. They see the unfinished lessons, the karma still unresolved, the growth that has yet to be achieved. And so they choose to return. They pick another life, another body, another set of experiences, knowing that when they are reborn, they will forget all of this once again. It's a cycle endless until the soul awakens and breaks free. But what happens if a soul refuses? What if it doesn't want to return? What if it resists the pull of reincarnation? This is where the deeper journey begins. Some souls ascend higher beyond the pull of rebirth into realms of existence where they no longer need a body. They continue to evolve, moving towards something even greater, something beyond human understanding. But for most, the cycle continues: life, death, rebirth again and again, until the lesson is learned, until the illusion is shattered, until the soul finally realizes it was never truly trapped to begin with. And the question remains, is this your last lifetime, or are you still bound to the cycle? Not every soul moves on in the same way after death. Some rise easily, shedding the weight of their past lives like a snake leaving behind its old skin. Others struggle still, carrying attachments, regrets, and desires that keep them tethered. The transition isn't automatic, and it's never exactly the same for everyone. What happens next depends on the choices you made while alive and the energy you bring with you. For those who lived with heavy burdens, anger, resentment, greed, or deep wounds that never healed, there's a phase of purification. Some people call it purgatory, but it's not a place of punishment. It's not fire and brimstone, and it's not torture. It's simply a process of release, where the soul faces the weight of what it hasn't let go of yet. Here the echoes of past choices replay in vivid clarity, not as punishment, but as a final lesson. The soul isn't judged by some external force. It's judged by itself, by its own awareness, by the realization of what it became. For some, this process is brief. They understand, they accept, and they move on. For others, it can feel like an eternity. Souls who resist, who refuse to face their own reflection, linger in this state, not because anyone is keeping them there, but because they're not ready to surrender what no longer serves them. This is why some spirits remain tethered to the material world like ghosts of their former selves, still attached to a life that's already ended. But those who find peace, who let go and release, ascend beyond this phase. They enter what some traditions call the second heaven, a realm of pure thought, unshackled from physical form. Here, the soul exists in a state of expansion, no longer limited by the body. Time doesn't exist. Space is fluid. There's only awareness, and with it, the ability to see life from a much higher perspective. In this state, souls reflect on the lives they've lived, the choices they've made, and the paths still left to walk. There's no suffering here, only understanding. They see the interconnected web of existence, how every action ripples outward, touching countless lives in ways they never realized. They see how choices in one life affect the next, and how the patterns they repeat aren't accidents but lessons waiting to be understood. But there's still another level, a higher state, before the cycle begins again. This is the third heaven, the final phase before reincarnation. It's a place where souls rest, absorb, and prepare. Here, the deepest cosmic truths are revealed. The soul fully understands the nature of existence before choosing to return. It's a place of pure knowing, where all the veils are lifted and the soul is granted a rare glimpse beyond the illusion of the material world. Yet even with all this understanding, most souls still choose to come back, not because they have to, but because their journey isn't finished. They're drawn back into the physical world, into new bodies and new experiences, because there's still something to learn, something to balance, something to complete. And so the cycle continues. But what happens when a soul decides it's had enough? What happens when it no longer wants to return? That's a choice too, but it's one that only the rarest souls make. Most souls don't escape the cycle. They don't ascend beyond it. They come back lifetime after lifetime, caught in the same patterns, repeating the same lessons, chasing the same illusions. And the reason is simple attachment. Attachment is the invisible chain that binds souls to the physical world. It's the desire for more, the hunger for wealth, power, recognition. It's the need to control, to possess, to define yourself by things that are only temporary. As long as a soul is attached to the material world, it can't leave it. It keeps coming back, pulled like a magnet, locked in the endless loop of birth, death, and rebirth. But attachment isn't just about material things. It's about emotions, about unresolved karma, about identities a soul refuses to let go of. Someone who dies, still consumed by anger, resentment, or fear, will carry that energy into the next life. Someone who lived for status and validation will return to chase it all over again. Someone who clings to their identity, race, religion, nationality, will be reborn into the same circumstances, trapped in the same illusions, because they haven't yet learned to see beyond them. This is why the cycle is so hard to break. The soul isn't forced to return. It chooses to again and again, because it hasn't realized that none of this is real. The suffering, the struggle, the endless chasing, it's all part of the illusion, an elaborate game the soul plays with itself. And until it wakes up, it keeps playing. The greatest trick of all is forgetting. Each time a soul is reborn, it forgets everything. It forgets the lessons of past lives, the mistakes it's already made, the moments of realization it once had. So it starts overthinking. This is the first time, believing it's living a unique life, when really, it's walked this path countless times before. Some souls begin to sense this. They experience déjà vu, unexplainable fears, or deep irrational attractions to certain people or places. They feel an underlying restlessness, as if they're searching for something they can't quite remember. And that's because they are. The past isn't truly gone. It lingers beneath the surface, waiting to be remembered. But for most, the distractions of the world are too strong. The noise of modern life, the pursuit of success, the lure of entertainment, the endless stream of information. These things keep people occupied, keep them asleep. They chase love, status, pleasure, never realizing they're running in circles, never stopping to ask, have I done this before? Breaking free from the cycle isn't about escaping life, it's about transcending it. It's about realizing that none of this is permanent, that everything you think you own, everything you think defines you will one day disappear. The soul that clings will return. The soul that lets go will ascend. So the question isn't whether you'll reincarnate, but whether you'll wake up before you do. Will you see the illusion for what it is? Or will you come back again, repeating the same patterns, trapped in the same cycle, until one day, maybe lifetimes from now, you finally decide to let go? Most souls don't escape, not because they can't, but because they don't even realize they're trapped. They go from lifetime to lifetime, chasing success, chasing love, chasing power, believing fulfillment is just out of reach. That one more achievement, one more experience, one more lifetime will finally bring them peace. But it never does, because real peace isn't something you find in the world. It's something you find when you step beyond it. Escaping the reincarnation cycle isn't about rejecting life. It's about transcending it. It's about seeing the illusion for what it is and refusing to be bound by it anymore. It's about realizing that everything you've ever chased, everything you've ever suffered for everything you thought mattered, was all temporary, and that nothing temporary can ever bring you lasting freedom. So how do you break free? It starts with awareness. The moment you recognize the illusion, it begins to lose its grip on you. The things that once seemed so important, money, reputation, social approval, begin to fade. You stop reacting the way you used to. You stop chasing what you once believed would complete you, and instead you start turning inward. Mindfulness is the first key. Not the watered-down version sold as a tool for productivity, but real mindfulness, the kind that forces you to confront yourself, to question everything you've ever believed. When you observe your thoughts without attachment, you start to see how much of your identity is just programming. You begin to see how many of your desires aren't even yours, but were placed there by the world around you. And when you see that you can start to let them go, meditation is the second key, not as an escape, but as a way of remembering. When you sit in silence long enough, the layers start to peel away, the distractions, the noise, the false identities. They all dissolve until all that's left is awareness itself. And in that space, something happens. You begin to remember not as a thought or idea, but as a deep, unshakable knowing. You remember that you were never just this body, never just this name, never just this single fleeting life. You were always something far greater. The third key to breaking free is detachment. Now don't get this confused. Detachment isn't about shutting down your feelings or becoming numb to the world. It's about letting go of the urge to cling. You can love deeply, enjoy fully, and care passionately, but you don't grasp or try to possess. You experience life as it comes, but you don't let the fear of loss or the need for control dictate your actions. You realize that nothing here is truly yours and nothing here is permanent. That understanding is what sets you free. But there's one final key, and it's the hardest of all. It's the realization that you, your personality, your identity, your ego are not the one who escapes the cycle. The very idea of you is part of the illusion. The person you think you are, the story you've been telling yourself, was never meant to last forever. It's just a role, a mask, a temporary character in a much larger play. When you stop identifying with that role, when you stop believing you are only this body, this story, this fleeting moment, something profound happens. The illusion begins to collapse. The cycle starts to break, and what remains is something beyond words, something eternal. Most souls never reach this point. They keep coming back lifetime after lifetime, pulled by desires, unfinished lessons, and the weight of their own attachments. But a rare few, maybe you see through it. They step beyond. The choice is always there. The cycle continues for as long as you choose it. But the moment you stop playing the game, the moment you stop believing the illusion, the moment you let go, you're free. Every lifetime is a choice. But most people don't realize they're making one. They're born, they follow the path set before them, they live as they're told, and then they die only to do it all over again. Not because they're forced to, but because they never stopped long enough to see that they had a choice at all. Right now, you're standing at that crossroads. You're hearing this for a reason. Maybe this is the first time you've ever considered that life is something more than what you've been told. Maybe you've always felt it, but never had the words to express it. Or maybe deep down you've known this truth all along. You've just been waiting for the moment when it all finally made sense. That moment is now. Most souls will stay asleep. They'll keep clinging to their identities, their desires, their attachments, believing the next job, the next relationship, the next achievement will finally bring them fulfillment. But it never does. All of it is borrowed, and one day it will all be returned. When that day comes, they'll find themselves back where they started, facing the same choice again. But a few, just a few, will wake up. To awaken is to see through the illusion. It's to realize that everything you experience is just a passing moment in an infinite stream of existence. You are not your name, your body, your story. You are the awareness behind it all. That awareness has been here before. It has watched you play countless roles in countless lifetimes, in countless worlds, and it will keep watching until the day you decide you no longer need the experience of being human. That choice is yours. But waking up isn't easy. The world is full of distractions designed to pull you back into the illusion. Society will tell you what matters. The people around you will reinforce what's normal. The systems in place will keep you busy chasing things that will never fill the void inside. If you let it, the noise of the world will drown out the quiet knowing that's been whispering to you all along. The rarest souls reject the noise. They stop running. They stop chasing. They stop playing the game. Instead, they turn inward. They question everything. They let go of what they once thought was important. They unlearn what they were taught. And in doing so, they begin to remember, because the truth has always been there, just beneath the surface, waiting for you to notice. So here's the question. Will this be just another moment, another idea that fades as you return to your daily life? Or will this be the moment you choose something different? The moment you take your first step toward waking up? Because one path leads you back into the cycle, back into another lifetime, back into forgetting. The other leads beyond the illusion, beyond the limits of time and form, beyond everything you thought was real. Few souls choose the second path, but if you're still here, still listening, still feeling that quiet pull inside, maybe, just maybe, you are one of them. If you've made it this far, it's not by accident. Nothing in this universe is random. The fact that you're hearing this now in this exact moment is proof that your soul is ready for this knowledge. Maybe this is the first time you've questioned the nature of your existence. Or maybe you've been searching for answers your whole life. Either way, you've reached a turning point, the moment where you decide what comes next. Most people will forget. They'll wake up tomorrow and go back to their routines, drowning in distractions, letting this truth slip through their fingers like sand. They'll keep running, keep chasing, keep repeating the cycle, believing that the next achievement, the next relationship, the next lifetime will finally make them whole. But it never will, because wholeness isn't something you find, it's something you remember. The few who wake up start to see the world differently. They stop reacting. They stop playing the game. They stop letting the illusion dictate their reality. Instead, they step back and watch. They watch how people attach themselves to things that will never last. They watch how people distract themselves to avoid facing their own emptiness. They watch how people chase things they don't even truly want. And as they watch, something changes. The illusion loses its grip. The world that once seemed so solid, so absolute, begins to crack. And through those cracks, the truth begins to shine. The path to liberation isn't about rejecting life. It's about no longer being controlled by it. It's about moving through this world without attachment, without fear, without being pulled into the same cycles that have trapped you for lifetimes. It's about remembering who you are beyond this body, beyond this name, beyond this moment in time. But waking up is just the beginning. True freedom comes when you align your life with this truth, when you stop looking outward for meaning and start looking inward, when you stop chasing and start being, when you start making choices not out of fear or desire, but from a deep knowing that you are something far greater than you've been led to believe. This knowledge is powerful, but it can't all be shared here. There are some truths that go beyond what can be said openly. That's why we created Insights Academy, a free newsletter, where we go even deeper into the knowledge that's been hidden, suppressed, and forgotten. If you're ready for more, you'll find it there. And for a limited time, you'll also receive a free copy of the Kabbalah, a book that holds some of the most profound teachings on reality and consciousness. The link is in the description. Don't miss this chance. Because the truth is, most will continue to sleep. Most will choose the comfort of familiarity over the discomfort of awakening. Most will hear this message and walk away unchanged. But not everyone. A few will feel it. A few will recognize it. A few will remember. And if you're one of them, you already know what comes next. If this video resonated with you, let us know by commenting, "I understood it."